The conclusion of The Rich Girl That Lost Her Fiancé Because He Caught Her Sleeping with Her Pet. Welcome back to NK's Tales. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. Your support truly encourages me to continue sharing these incredible tales with you. Let me know in the comments where you're watching from. On Sunday, Chief Adeleke came to the hospital. He was a man that used to commanding rooms, used to making decisions, used to everything bending to his will. But standing in a psychiatric ward, looking at his daughter, his pride, his legacy, lying in a hospital bed after a suicide attempt, something in him broke open. "Why didn't you tell us?" he asked. His voice was rough, aged by shock. "Why didn't you tell us you were struggling like this?" Bella looked at her father through tears. "Because you taught me that struggle was weakness. That anything less than perfect was failure. I was terrified of disappointing you. I was terrified of being less than the Adeleke name required me to be." Chief Adeleke sat down heavily in the chair beside her bed. For the first time in Bella's life, she saw him cry. Not the controlled tears of a man at a funeral, maintaining composure for appearances. Real tears. The kind that come from a father realizing he almost lost his daughter because she was too afraid to be human in front of him. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm so sorry, Bella." The next 6 months were not easy. David did not come back. And while that hurt, while it opened a wound that would take years to heal, Bella eventually understood that some relationships cannot survive certain ruptures, no matter how much love existed before. David needed to process his own trauma from what he witnessed. And Bella needed to heal without the pressure of saving a relationship while she was learning to save herself. But something else happened instead. Dr. Adeleke put Bella on a proper medication regimen, supervised by a psychiatrist who specialized in complex cases. Weekly check-ins. Monthly evaluations. A treatment plan that actually addressed her needs instead of just masking symptoms. She entered an intensive outpatient program. Group therapy with other women who were fighting their own invisible battles. Women who understood that mental illness doesn't care about your bank account, your family name, or how perfect you look on Instagram. She found a support system that wasn't based on social status or family connections, but on shared humanity and mutual understanding. Her parents, slowly and awkwardly, began to learn about mental health. Chief Adeleke attended family therapy sessions. Fumi started educating herself about depression and anxiety, replacing her previous ignorance with genuine understanding. It wasn't smooth. There were setbacks. There were days when Bella still felt the weight of shame crushing her. There were nights when she still wondered if she would ever be able to move past what happened. But she was alive. And she was learning, very slowly, that being alive was enough. 1 year after the incident, Bella did something unprecedented for someone from her background, someone with her name, someone who had experienced such a public scandal. She started talking about it. Not the explicit details. Not the sensational parts that had fed the gossip meals. But the truth underneath. The mental health crisis. The medication-induced dissociation. The way that shame and stigma had nearly killed her. She wrote an article for a Nigerian mental health advocacy organization. She spoke at universities about the importance of proper psychiatric care. She used her platform, not to rehabilitate her reputation, but to help other people who were struggling in silence. Some people in Lagos society never forgave her. Some families still whispered when she walked into rooms. Some people still believed the worst interpretations of what had happened. But others, hundreds of others, reached out to tell her their own stories. Women who had been suffering silently with depression. Men who had been self-medicating with alcohol. Young people who were terrified to tell their parents they needed help. Bella became, unexpectedly, a voice for the voiceless. Not because she wanted to be, but because she had survived something that many people don't survive, and she refused to let that survival be meaningless. 2 years after the incident, On a quiet Wednesday afternoon, Bella received a message. It was from David. "I've been in therapy," it said. "Processing what I saw, what I felt, what I didn't understand at the time. My therapist helped me learn about medication-induced behaviors and mental health crises. I want you to know that I don't hate you. I never hated you. I was just hurt and confused, and I didn't know how to process something I'd never encountered before. I'm sorry I didn't stay. I'm sorry I didn't try to understand. I hope you're healing. I hope you're finding peace. You deserved better from me in that moment. You deserved understanding, not judgment. I'm truly sorry." Bella read the message 3 times. She cried. Not from pain, but from relief. From the validation that even though their relationship couldn't be salvaged, the person she'd loved had finally understood what she'd been going through. She wrote back, "Thank you for this. I've learned that healing doesn't require anyone's forgiveness but my own. But your words mean more than you know. I hope you're finding peace too. We both deserved better than what happened to us." They never got back together. Some endings are final. But the message gave both of them something important, closure that came from understanding rather than blame. Today, Bella Adeleke is 32 years old. She still lives in Lagos. She still carries the Adeleke name. She still works in her father's real estate company, though now she's opened a mental health initiative within the company, providing therapy and psychiatric care for employees who need it. She still takes medication. She still goes to therapy. She still has hard days when the depression feels overwhelming. But she's alive. And King is still by her side, the same loyal companion he's always been, loving her unconditionally through every moment. She doesn't date much. The trauma of what happened with David, the public humiliation, the way her most vulnerable moments became entertainment for thousands of strangers, that left scars that are still healing. But she's learned that being alone doesn't mean being lonely. That she can be complete without needing someone else to validate her existence. Most importantly, she's learned that her worst moment doesn't define her. That mental illness is not a character flaw. That asking for help is courage, not weakness. That survival, in itself, is a form of victory. If you're watching this story and you're struggling with your own mental health, please hear this: you are not alone. What you're going through is real, it's valid, and it deserves proper treatment and care. There is no shame in needing help. There is no weakness in admitting you're struggling. Bella's story could have ended on that Friday night when she took all those pills. But it didn't. Because someone cared enough to check on her. Because doctors cared enough to treat her properly. Because she chose, even in her darkest moment, to keep fighting. Your story doesn't have to end either. If you're in Nigeria and you're struggling, organizations like Mental Health Foundation Nigeria, She Rights Women, and Asido Foundation offer resources and support. If you're elsewhere in the world, reach out to mental health services in your area. Talk to someone. A therapist. A doctor. A friend. Anyone who will listen without judgment. And if you're someone who knows a person who's struggling, please, don't assume. Don't judge. Ask. Listen. Understand that what you see on the surface rarely tells the whole story. Bella Adeleke lost everything in one devastating moment. But she found something more valuable, the strength to keep living even when the world told her she shouldn't. The courage to be honest about her struggle even when honesty cost her everything. And the wisdom to understand that healing is not about returning to who you were before, but becoming someone new who can hold both the pain and the hope at the same time. This is her story. This is everyone's story who has ever fought a battle no one else could see. And if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to do something. In the comments below, leave a word or a phrase for anyone who might be struggling right now. Let them know they are not alone. Let's build a community of understanding instead of judgment. Subscribe to NK's Tales if you haven't already. because stories like this need to be told. Stories that remind us that we are all human. We are all struggling. And we are all worthy of compassion. Thank you for listening to Bella's story. And thank you for being part of a community that chooses understanding over judgment. Until next time, remember, your struggle doesn't define you. Your courage does.